So, NFL Week 1 is over. It was a lot of fun for some teams, and a nightmare for others. In today's video, I'm going to break down how the first week this season went for each NFC North team. I'll also give each one a grade to kind of wrap up their performance in a nutshell. Each team will be timestamped in the description, by the way. Without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start with the Detroit Lions. They opened the NFL season in dramatic fashion, winning a nail-biter over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now granted, Kansas City was missing Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, but there are no asterisk wins in this league. Every team situation is different, things happen, and you take the wins you can get. Detroit's offense in general was inconsistent though, scoring only 14 points. There were great flashes, but that side of the ball was clearly pretty rusty. They got it done in the end though, thanks in no small part to the defense, which got stop after stop on Patrick Mahomes. To touch on some other things, officiating was inconsistent, to put it mildly. A lot of things didn't go the Lions' way, but they had some lucky moments as well. It was overall a very tough game for both sides. There were plenty of times when it looked like Kansas City had the game in hand and Detroit was overmatched, but the Lions always overpowered that and punched the Chiefs right back. It was a lot of tough, physical, back-and-forth football. Dan Campbell has constantly preached his philosophy of physicality and grit, and the Lions fighting for and earning that win on Thursday was a perfect example of that. A statement win for the Lions, to be sure. The team showed that they were a legitimate contender this year and are not to be taken lightly. Grade A. The Vikings took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week in a game that many thought Minnesota would take without too much trouble. Despite the talent on Tampa Bay's roster, the team was generally projected to be a bottom 5 group in the league, mostly due to the lack of a good quarterback. Suffice it to say, things did not go to plan for Minnesota as they fell to the Bucs by a score of 20-17. Baker Mayfield wasn't awesome, but he had 173 yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks, so things could have been worse for him, I guess. This definitely wasn't the kind of game Vikings fans were hoping to see on Sunday. The offense ran into a few problems, for one thing. The interior offensive line looked awful, and Alexander Mattison was less than impressive. Justin Jefferson was very good as always, rookie wideout Jordan Addison looked great, and the defense had some good moments. But at the end of the day, the team as a whole just wasn't quite effective enough to get the job done. A frustrating game to be sure. If I had to boil the game down to one bad statistic, here it is. The team fumbled twice and Kirk Cousins threw an interception. It's always going to be difficult to win when you can't hold on to the ball to that extent. Grade C-. In Week 1, the Green Bay Packers played the Chicago Bears. We'll get to the latter momentarily, but for now, let's focus on Jordan Love and the gang. It was overall a very impressive showing for the team in general, as they won 38-20. What's more, some of those 20 points they allowed were in garbage time. Without Christian Watson, Green Bay put up nearly 40 points. Jordan Love threw for 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones was effective both rushing and receiving, and Luke Musgrave was pretty solid. The defense looked great, too. The Packers notched 4 sacks and a pick on Justin Fields, and didn't even let him cross 200 yards passing until the game was well in hand. They never let Chicago get their rushing or passing game going, and overall smothered them all game long, while also putting up plenty of points themselves. Granted, I'm not sure how good the Bears are, but to have such an outstanding showing on both sides of the ball is always great. Grade A+. And finally, we have the Chicago Bears. Last, and also probably least. It was not a pretty game at Soldier Field on Sunday. Chicago's offense was listless. The running backs couldn't get going, Fields struggled through the air until the game had already been decided, and DJ Moore had a measly 25 yards. The team's offensive coordinator constantly looked like he was in over his head. The defense wasn't much better either, mind you, seeing as it allowed nearly 40 points. Starting cornerback Kyler Gordon getting hurt certainly didn't help matters. Chicago's linebacker duo was good, but they were about the only defensive players that were. The team in general looked slow and uncoordinated, and fans were justifiably pretty upset. In a nutshell, this game was simply an unacceptably weak showing by a team that had a lot of preseason hype. Grade D. In general, it was an interesting week to be sure. Plenty was revealed about every NFC North squad, for better or for worse. Regardless of individual team performances though, I'm sure all fans are happy to have football back. I know I definitely am. With that said though, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today's video. If you enjoyed this kind of video, definitely let me know down below and I'll try to do one every week. Also, if you by some miracle made it this far, drop a cookie emoji down below to let me know and I'll heart your comment. I appreciate all the support and I'll see everybody next time. Peace out.